Hello my dear friends. Me David Nolan, with a new history topic in our channel. Herbert Hoover. Who was Herbert Hoover? Herbert Hoover was the 31st President of the United States who served from 1929 to 1933. A Republican, he turned out to be very notable for his compassionate endeavors to give alleviation to a huge number of Europeans during and after the World War I. A mining engineer by occupation, Hoover was one of only a handful few presidents of the US to be chosen without electing experience or high military position. Brought into the world to persevering Quaker guardians in Iowa, he had an ideal adolescence until the age of 6 when his dad kicked the bucket. His mom too passed on 3 years after the fact, leaving him a vagrant. He was then raised by his uncle, Dr. John Minthorn, who taught in the little youngster solid hard-working attitudes and virtues. He moved on from the University of Stanford with a degree in geography and set out on an effective profession as a mining engineer. At the point when the World War I started, he became dynamic in the aid projects and drove a group of volunteers in circulating food, clothing, and different necessities. He additionally turned into the chairman of the Commission for Relief in Belgium (CRB) during this time. He then, at that point, proceeded to turn into the U.S. Secretary of Trade and in the end chose to run for administration and effectively won the political decision. In any case, his spell as the president was very little fruitful as the Wall Street crash of 1929, which hastened the Great Depression, struck only months after he got to work. Youth and early life. Herbert Hoover was brought into the world on August 10, 1874, in Iowa to Jesse Hoover and Huda Randall Minthorn. His dad was a smithy and ranch execute storekeeper, and the two his folks were Quakers. Herbert had one sibling and one sister. Tragedy struck the family when his dad passed on in 1880 and his mom too died a couple of years after the fact in 1884. Herbert in the end went to live with his uncle Dr. John Minthorn, a doctor and financial specialist. He got a well-rounded schooling at the Minthorn family and created solid hard-working attitudes. In 1891, he tried out the Stanford University and graduated in 1895 with a degree in topography. As an undergrad, he did different tasks to battle for himself. Profession. He started his profession in 1897 as a worker of Buick, Mowing & Co., a London-based gold mining organization in Western Australia. Then, at that point he went to China where he filled in as a main designer for the Chinese Bureau of Mines, and as senior supervisor for the Chinese Engineering and Mining Corporation. He buckled down over the course of the following not many years and turned into an exceptionally fruitful mining engineer. He began functioning as a free mining expert in 1908 and voyaged from one side of the planet to the other. In the long run he set up workplaces in San Francisco, London, New York City, St. Petersburg, Paris and Burma. He was a rich man by 1914 with an expected individual fortune of $4 million. The World War I started in August 1914 and Hoover became engaged with the alleviation work. He drove a huge gathering of 500 volunteers in circulating food and different necessities to the influenced individuals and coordinated the arrival of thousands of Americans from Europe. He turned into the executive of the Commission for Relief in Belgium (CRB) and cooperated with the head of the Belgian Comité National des Seekers et d'Alimentation (CNSA) to assist with taking care of the Belgians during a time of extreme food emergency. In 1917, the United States entered the conflict and President Woodrow Wilson named Hoover to head the U.S. Food Administration. He proceeded with his alleviation work, even get-togethers war, and aided in giving help to a great many starving individuals in Central Europe and Russia. In 1921, he was picked to fill in as the United States Secretary of Commerce by the President Warren G. Harding. He held his situation in the organization of President Calvin Coolidge, who succeeded Harding in 1923. As the secretary, Hoover zeroed in on dispensing with squander and expanding productivity in business and industry. He advanced item normalizations and global exchange. He was extremely fruitful in this position, and it is normal said that Herbert Hoover was the best Secretary of Commerce in United States history. Significant works. Herbert Hoover is best associated with his functions as a philanthropic during and after the World War I. He was effectively engaged with giving alleviation to a great many starving individuals around Europe and particularly regarded for his work as the top of the Commission for Relief in Belgium. Individual life and legacy. Herbert Hoover met Lou Henry while they were the two understudies at the Stanford University. The couple experienced passionate feelings for and in this manner wedded in 1899. Throughout the long term, Lou Henry proceeded to turn into a developed researcher and etymologist by her own doing. The couple had 2 children. He carried on with a long life and kicked the bucket at 90 years old in New York City on October 20, 1964.